The following has been brought to you by RockSolidFanClub.ca. This is the law.
All right, thank you all for joining us right here on The Law, live audio wrestling. For those of you that haven't subscribed yet, please click that like button, click that subscribe. We love it. And leave us a comment or two. Also, if you haven't checked out RockSolidFanClub.ca, check it out right now. You can join for free. Check all of that stuff out. Now, my question to you, Bradie, we are talking about right now, we're talking about one of the greatest UFC performers and fighters and entertainers. Let's get that straight. An entertainer of all time. I'm talking about Israel Adesanya.
Oh, okay.
Israel Adesanya has a fight coming up against Dricus du Plessis on August 17th, I believe, in Perth, Australia, a city that sounds like it was named after a woman with a lisp. What she carries is a Perth. Now, anyways, they got this fight coming up because Izzy's supposed to be getting back his belt, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, here's my first question. Do you think Israel Adesanya is going to get back his belt in this fight? And if so, what does he do then?
I personally do not think, I think this is a fight between two African boys that have been bitching about this thing, about one being the real African, the other one being the real African. One's from China, apparently. The other one's from, whatever. I think this is a grudge match. So I definitely do think we're going to get a hell of a fight. Both guys are going to come out very aggressive. That's the wrong thing to do with a guy like Dricus. Dricus wants your aggression. Believe me. This guy, it went from being a guy that everyone thought was getting wins just on a fluke, that he was sloppy, that he was gangly. I haven't heard that term since I was a teenager, but that word gangly was used for him. I think it's just his style. I think he's very aggressive. He's like a light heavyweight Justin Gaethje. And I do not think Izzy coming in there with aggression is going to be a good idea. So, no, I do not see Izzy leaving Australia with the belt.
But here's the thing. I don't think Izzy fights with aggression.
He doesn't usually.
He's a counter striker. And he's a counter striker that likes to sit on the outside and go the distance. He'll pick you apart. You know what I mean? You got to think about this. Last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 7 fights. We'll go all the way back to his first loss of his career against Jan Blachowicz, where he moved up in weight. And you saw how much of a difference there really is between, middleweight and light heavyweight. Massive amount of weight lost to Izzy. And he lost in this fight. But that one went the distance.
Yep.
Like I'm saying, 6 of his last 7. The only one that didn't was when he, 5 of the last 7, because he lost in the 5th round to Alex Pereira when he got knocked out. And then he knocked out Alex Pereira in the 2nd round when they had the rematch. Outside of that, every one of those fights has been a decision. He goes the distance. That's what he does. I think, honestly, this fight is going to be no different. I think this is going to be an absolute snore fest of a fight, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're saying. There's two things I want to point out. One, Dricus, the reason why I called him a light heavyweight Justin Gaethje and not a middleweight, that was intentional. The guy is barely getting to middleweight. He is a big boy. He walks around, I guarantee, at heavyweight, but probably is a natural light heavyweight when it comes to just not doing a crazy weight cut. So I do think that's going to be a problem for Izzy because he's never done well with guys that are bigger than him. Also, I do think that Izzy's strategy was exactly that when he fought Sean Strickland, and he learned his lesson. Guys have figured him out. So I think his game plan is going to be completely different. I think he thinks that everyone is saying, or everyone expects to do what you're saying, come out there and do his traditional point fighting thing and try to get to a decision. I honestly, if you watch Izzy's YouTube channel, if you watch any of the times that he's been watching fights recently, his approach to watching fighters and giving his analysis is way more aggressive than it used to be. I honestly think that that's a tell. I think he's coming into this thing and he's going to try and finish it within a round or 2.
Well, okay. So then that brings up a very good point, because
let's go.
Is that something that he has to do? Right? Because to my point earlier, all of the fights that he's had have been decisions, right? So they've all gone this route, but his last couple of ones have been punch fests, especially with Alex Pereira.
Mhm.
And then he's a guy who we haven't seen fight since September of last year. He fought Sean Strickland and lost that one. And he decided he was going to take some time off. Prior to that, though, dude, you're looking at Pereira in April of 23. Before that, it was November of 22, July of 22, February of 22, June of 21, March of 21, and September of 20, and then March of 20. Like, he's used to fighting a lot of times.
He deserved that year off.
Now, this is what I'm saying. Do you take
Yeah.
that year off? Do you take that year off? Because if you've seen Izzy, he's put on a couple of pounds of muscle over this time, right? So he is definitely going to be a bigger fighter, I think, and it's going to have a tougher time making weight. Because is this because he knows that the division itself is getting bigger, or is it because he knows that his time in this division is very limited? Let's be honest here, dude. He's already cleaned out the best of the division, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's already beat. Let's go through it right now.
Let's go through the list.
The number one guy is Sean Strickland. Okay, that is the number one guy in the middleweight division right now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the number two guy, of course, Israel Adesanya. Number three guy, Whitaker. He's already beat him. Number four guy is Nasruddin Imavov. Hasn't fought him yet. Number five, Cannonier. Already beat him. Marvin Vittori at 6. Already beat him. Brendan Allen hasn't fought him yet. Paulo Costa beat him. Jaak Hermansen and Roman Dolidze are your number 9 and 10. So out of the top 10, there's 4 guys that Izzy hasn't fought yet. That's the number 4, number 7, number 9, and number 10. So other than Imavov, who's just kind of recently moved up into the top 4 position, right? Outside of that, he's already beaten everybody. Sometimes had to fight them more than once, right? In the case of Alex Pereira, in the case of Robert Whitaker, right? He's already had to fight these guys multiple times. He's cleaned out that division. I think that this is more of a money grab for the UFC to come back. Might be a bit of a grudge match, but I don't think that Izzy is long in this division. And I think that there's a lot more. I think that there are a lot more matchups that are kind of cool for that division with somebody else's champion.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my 2 routes to victory here. 1, Izzy drags it out to a decision. I feel like that's the way he's going to win if he can gas out Dricus and go that route.
Okay.
I also think this is the time, and I know you don't want to hear this because you hate it.
Okay.
I think this is the time that there is potential for those skinny legs to be broken.
With what?
With him throwing a leg kick and Dricus putting his knee up. I don't think Izzy has the legs that are going to last as long. He's got very Anderson Silvish legs. And look what happened to his. Eventually, over time, when you throw those kicks, and Izzy throws kicks like a monster, his leg kicks are nasty. His calf kicks are nasty. His inside kicks are nasty. His teeps, everything he throws has got intentions on it. And I think eventually you wear that down. I don't think Dricus is a guy you want to be throwing leg kicks at.
Why not?
Because he's a fucking big boy, and if you catch his knee in the wrong spot, your foot's going sideways.
But that's never been his MO up to this point.
It's not his MO, but he's pretty good at it.
Okay, but here's my question for you.
What's up?
Where the fuck is Dricus du Plessis fought?
Robert Whitaker?
That's one.
Yeah.
And Sean Strickland.
Sean Strickland, yeah.
Now, Robert Whitaker, we both know
which he lost that fight to Sean Strickland.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
We both know that Robert Whitaker fight shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? And Whitaker is.
Why don't you think it should happen?
Because I don't think that Robert Whitaker was trying to get time off, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. If you look back, his fight before that was, September, right? And then fought again. He fought just DDP in July. Ended up going with Marvin Vettori in that 3-round decision, right? All the way. Before that, it was his Izzy fight. Before that, it was Gastelum. Before that, it was Cannonier. Like, he had been in there with the guys that have been a lot bigger than him in that division, especially when you're talking about that fight that he had with Kelvin Gastelum, right? And even the fight with Jared Cannonier. So that fight, I don't think that it was something, because it was a title eliminator. They really needed somebody to move up in that, you know what I mean, in that division.
Can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
If Izzy wins this belt and he wins it in dominating fashion, does he retire?
No.
You don't think so?
No. And here's why. Here's why I don't think so. I think that Izzy is the kind of guy, he's already probably looking past DDP. He wants that rematch with Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
If there's anything, he wants that rematch, because if you look at that fight that he had with Strickland, he didn't want to be there. He was already taking time off.
If they get that rematch,
time off, and he knew that division had to move on and do something without him there, because him coming back is that much bigger.
That rematch between Sean Strickland and Izzy, if it does happen, whether there's a belt on the line or not,
right?
Should that be back in Toronto? Because if it is, we'll show up to the presser, because we never show up to pressers, but we'll show up to that presser and protect them from all the crazy Canadians asking them stupid questions.
Sean Strickland is not coming back to Toronto. You know what I mean?
Is he banned from the country?
I mean, he's on that. Listen, if Joe Rogan has anything to say about it, Sean Strickland is not coming back to Toronto. And we all know how many of the people like Sean Strickland get their advice from people like Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Speaking of Joe Rogan, I got to but this has nothing to do with any of this, but that motherfucker said that Joe Biden's voice was AI today. I heard this clip.
Well, listen,
you're right.
Listen, unless I know for myself, I don't know. He could be right.
He very well could be right.
Knowing what we know about AI stuff lately, we're not even real. This is all fake right now.
The fact that he wasted 14 minutes on talking about it is what's crazy. We're only wasting 1 minute. So, okay, going back to Izzy and Dricus, what's the keys to victory real quick before we roll this ride out for either man?
Keys to victory for Dricus is to just try to make this as awkward as possible. Dricus is one of these like herky-jerky, kind of a weird kind of a fighter, a bit like an Elias Theodoro. You know what I mean? With the way that he doesn't turn to his side as much as like Elias used to or whatever. It doesn't have the great hair, but he has this weird kind of throws from a lot of weird angles and stuff. So I think that the key for him is to try to mix it up and don't stand there and be a target. Do not stand there and be a target for Izzy, because he will get some rhythm and he will pick you apart. That's going to be the hardest part for Izzy, is figuring out the rhythm to a guy that doesn't know how to dance. This is really what it boils down to. When you talk about like moves on the dance floor and being able to fight and moves and rhythm and stuff like that, right? It really is like a dance. And Dricus du Plessis might be the whitest guy on the fucking dance floor.
If anybody watching this knows that where a betting site is that I can bet on Izzy breaking his leg and Dricus winning by the fact that Izzy broke his leg, please put it in the comment section and let me know, because I haven't been able to find it yet on any betting site.
Well, I mean, that doesn't sound like something that I think a lot of, I don't know how many prop bets. Do you think there's prop bets individually?
Yeah. No, there is. There's these random sites that are like based in New Zealand or something that I'll be able to get access to, where I can place a bet on something ridiculous like that.
I wonder what the odds would be on Izzy breaking his leg.
I found, okay, I swear to God, years ago.
I don't want to wish that upon anybody, especially me.
Years ago, I had found a site. I think it was actually like a Betway or something. And inside of their prop bets, I could have bet on Stitch coming back as a cut man.
Like Stitches, like brick to your face?
No, no, not Stitches.
Oh,
you're the only person that has ever even mentioned that guy's name in about fucking 5 years. That is crazy. I opened for that idiot when he fucking was first time in Canada. Yeah, I opened him up.
Okay. No, you said you opened for him.
Yeah, I know. Okay. On that note, is there anything you want to plug before we actually roll this ride out now?
Listen, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it once again. Please, for all of you on YouTube, please like that button, click that subscribe, leave us a comment. For the rest of you, please go and check out RockSolidFanClub.ca. Join now. It's free to join up. And for the rest of you, share all of this with your friends.
You put that ticker back up.
I'm Chris. He's Bradie. This is the law.
SportCars.com, the best in Canada. NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB, Pokemon, UFC, WWE. SportCars.com.
RockSolidFanClub.ca gives you full access to Canada's leader in professional wrestling, featuring legends like Mick Foley, modern megastars such as Cody Deaner, and future sensations like Tyler Turva. RockSolidFanClub.ca offers exclusive series, podcasts, live streams, specials, and full events, all for less than $9 a month. Sign up today at RockSolidFanClub.ca, where real fans get it.
Be sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and tell all of your friends. Share it with everybody. We appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. So let's make this thing even bigger.